Well, guys, as promised, welcome back. We're working on the 72 Mustang Fastback. There it is, in case you're not familiar with it. If I can get it in the camera. What we're doing on the car is a power steering conversion. And basically, a lot of these cars just came with standard manual steering, which, in my opinion, well, first of all, you got two opinions. You got the guys out there that say they love to feel the road, and there's no feel like a manual steering gearbox, and yada yada yada. I'm the other guy that likes to know that I don't have to bench press 500 pounds to turn the car to park it into a parking spot. Basically, I'm just going for convenience of driving, everyday driving. My girlfriend's probably going to be driving around the car a lot, so power steering is really the only viable option. So, with that said, we're in the middle of a power steering conversion here, and I don't know if you can see with the bad lighting, but in there is the new power steering rag joint, or some like to call it the formal name, the steering coupler. And there's the power steering gearbox, which was harder than hell to find, but I found it. That's from A1 Cardone. Basically, it bolted right in where the manual gearbox went, connected the steering joint, or the rag joint in there. Basically, that's where the power steering system sits. The return hose is connected, and the pressure hose, again, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the pressure hose is not connected yet. And the power steering pump is currently off of the vehicle. And I'll give you a little background here. This power steering pressure hose is the hose that's supposed to be used in the system. It's the long hose. There's two types of hoses that are used, the long hose and the short hose. Basically, the only difference is the short hose, it fits in there a lot easier. It's pretty much direct. But the problem is with the short hose is that the power steering fluid would heat up a lot more. If it's in a longer hose, it has more distance to travel, therefore it can cool faster. You mount this long hose up here onto this brace, and it allows for recirculating fluid. To a longer travel would mean it would cool easier. So basically, this is where we are. So got our power steering bracket here. Again, I don't know if you can see that, but it's freshly painted. It's just sitting here for now. Got my hose. And here's our power steering pump we're going to use. Now, this pump here is your typical, some guys like to call it a canned ham pump. This pump actually was on this engine when I got the car. Now, this is not the power steering pump that's used on these cars, but this is a better pump, and basically the only thing that you have to do to make this pump work in this car is create an adapter. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So let me mount the camera. Find a good spot. I guess that'll work. Alright, so we go in here, and I'll grab the piece that I just bought and try to show you as best I can how this is going to work. Okay. This piece right here is the piece that goes into the power steering pump. When you buy a power steering pump from any auto parts store, it's going to have this piece already sitting in it, and I'll show you where it goes in a minute. Now, what we have to do is, if you notice, this is a female end. Okay? Obviously, a male end has to go in here to make a secure fluid-type fitting, or fluid-type fit. But power steering hose you get for the Mustang is also a female end. So, the challenge becomes how to make these two female ends made up so this pressure hose can go into the power steering pump. And it's done simply by utilizing a pre-made brake line. Now, it's the same thing as a power steering line. It'll still hold the same pressure, if not more pressure. And basically what this will allow me to do is thread male to female on my pressure side, if I can get that to thread while standing in this weird position. Basically, that'll thread into there. This side will then thread into the power steering side. So it creates a connection. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it in such a way, 90 degrees angle up, so this will actually route correctly. So any guys out there doing a power steering conversion on one of these 71 through 73 Mustangs, you buy all the parts, you get down to putting it in. You know, you can go the option of using the stock power steering pump, but from everybody that I talk to, they say run the Can-Ham pump. It's a lot better efficiency, a lot better model, and all you gotta do is make one of these adapters. So in my next video, I'm gonna go ahead and illustrate how I get the adapter made. Kind of go through the steps, you know, that I use to do it. Some people may not know how to work with brake line, and then I'm gonna go ahead and mount this pump and connect all the hoses up, fill it up with some fluid, and we'll see if we have power steering. So until then, guys, we'll chat at you later.